want you to tell me, what do you want to do with your life?
What's that? Your dog's escaped the Death Star? We must go find him. I'll fly. Where will I sit? There's no back seat. Get out of here. Okay, I'll see you later. I'll stand behind this sign that says junk. Get in there. Oh no, I won't pick up my gun. Oh, sorry. I was just playing with my toy. But my question is this just a toy? Let's talk about it. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, and I'm coming back at you with one of those brand new spanking videos that you want to see. Before we get started, as always, support this channel. Head over to patreon.com. There get some exclusive content that I've been really slacking about, but I promise more's coming soon. Get outtakes, which you also find at the end of some of these videos now, so don't click off just when I start rambling at the end, because you might miss some outtakes, you know, kind of like a Cannonball Run movie. Anyway, support the channel, patreon.com. Buy a t-shirt over at thatjunkman.com, like this shirt right here. Now, let's get to it and just do a rant. The Luke Skywalker X-Wing, released by Kenner in 1978. And for many of you that's clicking on this video, you're probably saying, look at the Junkman playing with a toy. And that's what I want to kind of rant about today. It's not really a video that's going to inform you. I'm not going to talk about the X-Wing or how they made it or anything like that. I kind of just wanted to ask, is it just a toy? Now you're probably scratching your bald head saying, what is he talking about? Of course it's a toy. That's the thing. I hear a lot of people that say, why do you buy toys? Look at you, Junkman. You're almost 30 years old and you're still buying toys. But am I? Is all this, not just the X-Wing, is all of this I'm surrounded by? Well, maybe not the videotapes, but the rest of it, is it just, as they say, quotes. I hate when people do that, but I do it, quotes. Is all this Death Star ball, this hammerhead, and of course this X-Wing with Luke Skywalker, is it just a toy? And yes, people, I guess in a way it's a toy, but it's not just a toy. They ask me, Junkman, why do you drink? Why do you roll smoke? Why must you live out all them songs that your daddy wrote? Wait a minute, that's a different video. Start over. They ask me, Junkman, it's just a toy. Why are you still buying toys? And for many people, I would say 98% of you that's going to click on this video, you get it. You look at this and it's not just a toy. But this video is for the 2%ers out there. What do I see when I look at this X-Wing? Do I see just a toy? When I look at the Luke Skywalker sitting inside, do I just see a Luke Skywalker action figure? No, it's not just a toy. It's a lot more than just a toy. Let me explain. Now, this is not my original X-Wing I had as this isn't my original X-Wing I had as a child. That one's been long gone. Probably put some M80s in the cockpit, threw it down some stairs. No telling what happened to it, but picked this one up probably in the mid-90s. Pretty good condition. Again, why would I buy a toy? Wasn't a child anymore. What's the deal? Well, like I said, when I look at this, I don't see a toy. What I see when I look at this X-Wing is different things. first, I do see a toy. I'm not crazy. I do have eyes. It is a toy. But to me, it's more than that. My first thing when I see this, well, let's start over. The first thing I really see is the design work, the great detail that was put into just a toy back in the late 70s. Today's technology makes it a little easier to make stuff you see in the movies come alive in plastic form. People often talk about the special effects in the Star Wars movie, how groundbreaking they were. I don't know if the Star Wars toys were groundbreaking at the time because there wasn't really much to compare them to before this. We had a few lines based on movies like Planet of the Apes, but this was the first line that really went detailed. And look at this. Sure, you can sit there and say, that button wasn't in the movie. The R2 doesn't come out. Or it wasn't like that in the movie. That color's not right. Sure, you could do that today. But at the time when we didn't watch the movies over and over again, this was like having part of the movie come home with us. It was like having one of the models used for the movie. So not only do I see a toy, I see a lot of love and art. I mean, I see a lot, the designers, the people at Kenner, love went into this. They didn't just throw plastic together, ship it out to make an easy dollar. But it's not really something I see often. That's not why I bought this as an adult. When I look at this X-Wing, there's another thing I see. And it's something that only I can see when I look at this X-Wing. When you look at it, you're going to see something totally different than I see. Yes, look at this X-Wing. Do you see it? You don't see what I see. And I don't see what you see. So let's talk about that. When I look at this toy, one thing that always hits my mind when I look at this is going to Server's merchandise. At the time, I think it was called Wilson's. If you don't know Wilson's, it was a catalog store, they called it. A lot of people ordered from the catalog, picked it up at the store, but they did sell stuff at the store also. I think Server's merchandise bought them out in the late 80s, early 90s. So if you don't know Wilson, you probably know Server's merchandise. Same thing. But I can remember going to that Server's merchandise. Now, this was a little later into the release, probably during Empire. But it was the white one. It wasn't the one where they changed the color with the battle damage. So it was probably 79, 80. But I can remember going there with my grandparents, loading up in their truck. I see the memory of going to Server's merchandise. I can remember walking around the store. I can remember taking the box off the shelf. I can remember looking at the box on the ride back home, flipping the box over, looking at all the details on the box, reading all the little stuff. Batteries not included, action figure not included. Man, what's not included in this thing, I probably thought. Then I can remember going back to my grandparents' house I spent most weekends with, me and my brother. I think he picked up a Dubek, if I remember correctly. I mean, we're talking almost 40 years here. But he picked up a Dubek, and I was the lucky one that got the X-Wing. And it brings back a lot of memories of that day. When most of the things back in that time, that years ago, I don't remember. But when I see this X-Wing, I don't see just a toy. I see my childhood. I see going back in time. I see me and my brother playing with this thing, being rough with it, throwing it around. And although I bought this and he bought the Dubek, we kind of shared our toys, unless he got angry at me and then took the toys away. Then I'll have an X-Wing with no pilot. But I see a lot more than just a toy. I can remember also playing with this at my grandparents' house outside. Woo! Going like that, going outside. Now let's see, the wings don't stand up too good on this one here, I see. See, it doesn't lock. Oh, lock! It doesn't lock. But I would have it locked in asphalt position. And and playing with that. Now another ship which I don't have. I sold it somewhere in the late 90s. Need to get it back. Was the Snow Speeder. And it's one of my favorite ships. But it's not one of the best ships ever made. But why is it one of my favorites? Because it's not just a toy. The Snow Speeder is the last vehicle that I can remember getting for my birthday. And what was so special about it is I picked it out myself. I remember my parents giving me some money, They either gave me the money or told me they'll take me to the store. But I remember this time my friend Boyd came over. I was having a rare spend a night party. Well, not a spend a night party if you're just one guy. Sleepover, I guess you call it. And this is probably 82, 83, is I'm guessing. But I can remember going to Zayre's. If you don't know what Zayre's is, it's kind of like Walmart back in the 80s, just smaller, probably closer to like Kmart. But I can remember going there excited for my birthday, excited that my buddy was going to sleep over at the house, something that very rarely happened. Not because my parents are mean, but a lot of times I would say, hey, can blah, blah, blah spend the night? I would always get a no. I don't know why. But other times I would say, hey, can boys spend a night? Say no, say no, say no. That most of what happened when he asked me to spend the night at his house. He had creepy brothers, and we won't get into all that. But I can remember when I look at that snow speeder, it takes me back to going to Zayre's, that sleepover, picking it out myself with my birthday money. So the snow speeder, although I don't currently have it now, I need to get it again. It's not just a ship. It doesn't just sit out here and say, hey, look at that toy over there. It's not just a toy, not just a ship. And the same thing can be said about the figures. Now, I should have brought the Han Hall figure because I don't know why. The Han Hall figure brings back more memories than any other figure in my Star Wars line. But let's take a look at the Luke Skywalker. Because I think the figures mean more to me than the ships and the playsets. First, give you a little trivia. Here's the Luke Skywalker. For years, I thought that was his hair showing under his helmet. I said, man, they need to give Luke Skywalker a haircut. But look closely. See if I can get it there. That's not Luke Skywalker's hair. That's the blast shield for the helmet. Now, some of you may not know that, so I thought I'd bring it up. Because whenever I do bring it up on social media or somewhere, people say, I didn't know that. I thought it was hair. It's not hair. It's the visor for the helmet. But the figures are the same way. It's not just an action figure. It's not just a toy. Now, this figure here really holds no memory for me. I can remember playing with it. I remember having a couple of them because it didn't look just like Luke Skywalker. But it doesn't really do anything when I see it that much. But let's say it's a Han Hoth, which I should have brought over here. I can remember that Han Hoth, where I got it, when I got it, who I was with and when I got it. Stuff that I can't remember any other of that time period. But we will talk, well, since Hammerhead is here, we'll talk about Hammerhead. I can remember when I got Hammerhead. Again, back at Zayre's. Man, we went to Zayre's a lot as a child. And I can remember I was by myself, again with my grandparents, looking through the rows of Star Wars figures. And this was before Empire. I was really little. And I can remember picking out this thing and my grandpa laughing at it. Like, he couldn't believe that I would buy something that looked this ugly. Look at it. He couldn't believe it. A alien monster. He said it looked like somebody ate a Snicker bar and threw it up in the package. He might have a point there, although it's wearing a blue shirt. But I can remember that. And I can remember opening it up at my grandparents' house. My grandpa getting a kick out of how ugly and stupid it was. And I remember something stays with me to this day that he said. He kind of laughed to himself and said how much he wished that his mother was still alive to have seen Star Wars. That she would have thought this whole world had gone crazy. Now, my grandpa was from West Virginia, a small town called Logan, West Virginia. I'm not sure if any of you guys know it or not. His parents were coal miners. So they lived up in the holler. If you're a country person, you know what the holler is. But they lived up in the mountains of West Virginia doing coal mines. And I can imagine that some mountain folk, some old, we're talking, someone that's in the early 1900s. They would have thought Star Wars was pretty wacky. And it always brings me back when I see Hammerhead that my grandpa said that he, was laughing to himself, watching me play with my Hammerhead, watching me play with my X-Wing and my other toys, and laughing that he wished his mother was still alive so she could see Star Wars, not because she would like it or anything, just because she would think it was so crazy that someone could come up with something like Star Wars, with something like this in a movie, and look real. So that's why Hammerhead always Takes me back to that moment, and I love it. So when people ask me, why do you buy these toys? Why? You're almost 35 years old. Why do you buy toys? And I have to tell them, it's not toys. I'm not just buying toys. Like I said, most of you guys watching this video is going to know what I'm talking about, but I wanted to just kind of rant about it anyway. And it's one thing that's really odd. If I didn't have this X-Wing sitting here, if all this back here was, let's say, a current sports team, let's say it's like the basketball team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, or whoever. Let's say I had footballs, and I had a poster of Mean Joe Green, and I had all kinds of sports stuff back here. People would come over, people would click on my video. They wouldn't say, why is this guy who is almost 25, why is he buying sports stuff? Why is he buying footballs and sports posters and t-shirts and jerseys? They wouldn't say it, but you have a room full or a junk room full of toys, and it becomes, why is this guy who is almost 40 buying toys? Now, I was living in the South. I see a lot of people with NASCAR stuff. I don't get NASCAR. All I know is a bunch of cars that go around on a track. Now, I've been told if I sit down and watch it, I would like it. That may be true. But I've never been a sports person, and I guess NASCAR is a sport. But again, if this X-Wing was some collectible sports car, and all this was NASA stuff, NASA, hey, that'd be kind of cool. If all this was, have I been saying NASA the whole time? NASCAR. If all this was NASCAR, no one would question it. Hey, there's a guy that likes NASCAR. Go Dale Jarrett! Or something. But no, being that's a action figure, they say, just a toy. But it's not just a toy. It's not just my childhood. It brings me back. And if you look around, you'll see some of this stuff's not from my childhood. One thing, I have a Kenner Alien over here. I didn't have that as a child. Don't even remember it being made when I was a child. But I'm sure I knew about it, but I didn't even watch Aliens until I was a teenager. Then we've got some stuff, I don't know if you can see it on the camera over here, from The Force Awakens and the newer films or the newer toys made by Hasbro. So you think, well, why you buy that? That's just a toy. When you get that, it doesn't spark a memory at all. It doesn't remind you of childhood, but it does take me back to my childhood also, because it takes me back to my love for Star Wars, which to me is my sports team. My NASCAR. It's not just a toy. The X-Wing here is not just a toy. And I was speaking earlier about how when I look at this, I see something about the time I bought it. Memories of that day. But now, as a guy that's almost 45 years old, I see something else. Another memory. Not only do I remember me getting at service merchandise with my grandparents and my brother, I also had this fond memory of finding the X-Wing loose in good condition with my friend at a toy convention in the mid-90s. Or maybe late 90s, probably mid-90s. And the fun we had that day. It was one of our first toy conventions. Took us about an hour to get there. Stood out in the cold to get in. Didn't know what to expect. Never been anything like this. And it was a lot of fun. Then we hit some local stores looking for toys of that time period. So not only do I have a memory of my childhood buying this X-Wing, I have memories of 90s, which was a good time. I was in my 20s and really getting into collecting, and the 90s was a really golden age for action figure collecting. So that's some really fond memories, and the new stuff here just brings back memories of Star Wars. And overall, it's just so cool. I mean, how can you not love Hammerhead? Look at him. Look at him. Hammerhead. He is awesome. I would love to have an outfit like this just to wear around the house. Well, again, I don't even know what this video is going to do. Don't know if you guys are going to agree, which I think most of you are going to agree. You'll be like, hey, dude, we knew all this already. This is why we like it too. This is why we watch your videos. It was more for the people just to click on it who maybe come here for more Star Wars movie-related stuff, or maybe they just clicked on this by accident and get in there. I always like to put his hand up like this because he's got a little slit where he can hold it right there. Don't shoot me! Don't shoot me! So, I'm going to ask you, when you look at this, do you see just a toy? I don't think so. I put a post up on Twitter and Facebook with a picture of, I think I did on Facebook, an A-Wing and a picture of a Slave One on Twitter and said, is this just a toy? And I was going to read those comments of memories and stuff, but I didn't word it right. And people just was like, hey, I love the A-Wing. So that's my fault. Anyway, when you look at this, do you see just a toy? I bet you don't. In the comments below, let me know what you see. Maybe not the X-Wing per se, but when you see an action figure that you fondly remember as a child, another ship, maybe the Falcon. I mean, that. I could do a whole video just on memories of that Falcon. So tell me in the comments below, what are some memories you remember getting Star Wars toys, or just toys when you were a child? And is that why you buy them today? Or is that why you watch videos like this, so you can see things like this that you remember having as a child and spark something in your brain? Another thing I always hear is, grow up. You're talking to a little camera about toys from 40 years ago. Grow up. Never understood that either. Why does everybody want everyone to grow up? Sure, I have a job, pay my bills, take care of my kids. The rest of it, who cares, right? Have fun. Life is short. Life is hard. Find anything in it that gives you enjoyment and makes those hard times a little bit more fun. That's some friendly advice from the Junkman inside his junk room. Maybe we should call it the junk lair. I think I like that better. Welcome to the junk lair, guy. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm good at that. Me and Hammerhead's getting out of here, and we're going to head on and talk about something else here. But I want to thank you for watching. Again, let me know in the comments below your thoughts if it's just a toy or not. And until the next video, you know we're going to do it. We're going to talk again.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.